Hi folks, today I wanted to make a quick video about something I think a lot of people misunderstand. Time and time again, I hear from people who want to believe that their persuasion process is all about giving information so that people can make a decision. All right, now this is the brain. All right, this is biology. All right, you can't battle biology. You can't reason with biology, and you can't force biology. All right, this is about brain function and persuasion. The idea is this: is you've got to get this and to understand it. All right, this outside part of the brain. This is where we have logic and reason. Okay, logic and reason do not generate movement. Okay, logic and reason don't generate movement. Movement is generated in this area of the brain. This is the primal old brain, fight or flight, food, sex, survival, happiness, dopamine, serotonin, dopamine, serotonin, all these things are generated, okay, by what happens here. All right. So the misunderstanding we have here is that a lot of people think that they can give logic and reasons and lists and money and price and quality and guarantees and add value and all of that stuff, and for some reason that this will trigger this area of the brain into taking an action. All right, this won't happen. This will never happen. Okay, the brain is not a top-down functioning organ. It doesn't work that way. The brain itself is a bottom-up. See, all of these things are important, all the things I'm saying. Added value, logic, pricing, all these logical things are important. But they're not important until you've gotten somebody to make an emotional commitment. Once they have an emotional commitment to take action, then, and only then, can you start providing logic, reasons, price, value. That's a terrible price, but price, value, all the logical things. Because here's what I keep thinking. Oh, but I did this. I told them this. I told them this. I told them this. And they still wouldn't buy, or they still wouldn't do what I want, or they still wouldn't give me the promotion, or they would still not get me the job. Any of those things that all require persuasion. All right. Now, the thing is, okay, so you're going to ask me, well, how do you do this? All right. It's actually quite simple. You have to change your strategy to start generating emotional commitment by targeting the reactive part of the brain. You want them to have a reaction. All right, look, any good advertising guy knows this. They know you see an ad on TV and you don't even know what the product is, but once they get you into the emotion, once they get you into the flow, of looking at mountains and valleys and this and that, that they flash up beer. Beer has nothing to do with any of that, but they've gotten you to take the emotional thing. They have engaged this part of the brain. This part of the brain engages the imagination, okay? And it starts shunting up and generating what we call the storyteller part of the brain. Once this happens, this part of the brain will make up a story as to why the action that they want to take is reasonable, true, and should obviously be taken. This is where you take the logic that you've been trying to pound into people's brains. Now you start adding price, okay? And you give them a reason, okay? Which validates this story. Okay, yes, there's a good price. That's just one more reason that I should have it. You engage their imagination. The thing is, once you've done this from the bottom up, and engage the storyteller part of their brain, any piece of information that you give them that sounds even remotely connected is going to fuel the action you want them to take. Okay? So then when you go, oh, I'm going to add in value. Value, oh, that just gives them another piece of the puzzle. All right? Could be, convenience, another piece of the puzzle. Lifestyle. Lifestyle is a big driver for a lot of decisions. Okay? Now, you've given these little pieces, and this part of your brain, okay, which is very interesting. This is the creative, adaptive part of your brain. Notice how much of it takes up. And the neocortex in the front, this is what, makes us human, makes our decision and problem-solving parts of our brain. Okay? Once you've engaged this part of the brain, it will start generating and creating a story. And every piece of information you give that story, that part of the brain starts adapting that piece of information and integrating it into the story. Okay, so this becomes very, very crucial because once they've generated their story, because they've already decided to take action, and they just need logic and all of this kind of things to generate the story, you don't get objections when you go to close the deal because they've already generated their story. They've already engaged their imagination. They've already engaged the creative part of their brain to come up with reasons why they should. And then you just effortlessly guide them down the path that they need to go down to make the deal happen, to give you the job, to, sell whatever you're selling, to get the promotion, any of those things. But none of that happens if you don't engage the center of the brain. If you don't engage this part of the brain and don't get it moving, if you don't get this whole part here and you start generating adrenaline and dopamine, okay, and it just pushes everything because they want to find a reason to take this action. All right, now imagine this. Imagine that you're in sales and you decided to design your sales process to trigger the emotions and then give the logical reasoning why they should take that action. Okay, because it fits with their story. And something, the funny part is this. You don't have to ask too many questions to discover what their story that they've created is. They're more than willing to share their story with you. And then you just take your presentation and you plug it into that story. Okay? And this is true of anything persuasive. Any good persuader is using this exact model, whether they understand how the brain functions or not. But first things first, engage the emotional core, the primal brain. Something that satisfies fight, flight, safety, sex, food, desire, happiness, any of that stuff. All of those things that are emotions that generate from the emotional part of the brain, that what you want them to have will satisfy that, and they connect those emotions to what you want them to have. And then the storyteller kicks in, and all you have to do is give a few pieces of information. Now, I know some of you guys do this completely backwards. You actually think the more information you give them, the better your result's going to be. I'm going to say that's absolutely 100% true. Not true, sorry. But you have to just give them a few pieces of information and let their storyteller integrate it, and then you have to guide them to the action you want them to take. So this is what I want you to notice. This is what I want you to do. This is what I want you to understand about the process. And we have the tools to do that. We have the tools to generate rapport, to allow it to go in easier. We got the tools to generate anchoring, to allow you to generate these emotions and attach them to the outcome better. Okay? But until you understand this very simple understanding that all persuasion is a bottom-up tool, you're just not going to get anywhere.